excited to be doing this next project. I am using the IOD Spring Melody Paint Inlay. It is part of the Q1 spring release for 2025, and I cannot wait to show you what we're doing. So I'm going to use one of these sweet little bottles. This is from Hobby Lobby, and it came in a set of 4, and it was in their spring section. So this actually had a stopper, and I just kind of clipped the stopper off. So we're going to use this bottle. I have this knob from Hobby Lobby, but it's been in my stash for a while. And then I'm going to be using a sheet of the Roses Paint Inlay. And I'm going to be using one of these elements called dog-eared fencing. And I cut it down to 18 inches. Now what I'm going to want to do is make sure that I sand it pretty well. White paint with the inlay, you wouldn't see any of the texture. So what I want to do is I'm going to use clear liquid patina to do the transferring of the paint inlay. And that technique, I just have to work a little bit more quickly. So first, let's get our roses and figure out which portion of these I'd like to use. I really love how the rosebud is here. So actually, there's a line that falls pretty much right on the edge. And I might cut it just a little bit bigger, actually. So I'm going to go one line over. I'm going to use the paint inlay on the bottom section, and then I'm going to put a mold at the top. I think that will be really fun. So I'm getting my clear liquid patina out. It is a sealer, but it has a lot of gum in it. So it's, it has great adhesion properties. And I do work with the sealer just a little bit differently than I do the paint. So I'm going to get the clear liquid patina on here. And what you don't want to do is you don't want to let the sealer set up too much. If that happens, then it can pull your inlay off. I don't want my brush to pull at all. Line this up at the bottom and line that outside edge with the edge of my board, pulling it tight. And this transfers quickly. I'm going to use my brayer initially to smooth this out. You can totally feel the grain of the board. I'm not sure I have enough liquid patina at the top. So I'm going to go in and really make sure that I've got that covered. I'm going to take my cloth and I'm smoothing out the wrinkles and making sure that wherever there's paint, I'm making really good contact. I'm going to spritz the surface. This just helps work the paint off of the carrier sheet and onto my board. So Okay, I'm pretty happy with that. I'm going to take my rag, wipe off the excess. Now I'm going to take my heat gun and I'm going to dry this. And you can see these two are fairly dry and that one's still wet just by the difference in how vivid that they are. Again, I work quickly with the inlays because I don't want the sealer to set up. So once it's dry, now I'm just going to go in with my water and work the water into the carrier sheet. So this is a pretty perfect result. I'm kind of leaning toward this one. It has some ornate elements to it. This would be really pretty in clay as well. So it's really just looking at scale. How big do I want it to be? And I'm going to go with a little bit smaller element. So I like to put cornstarch in my mold. And now that will get glued right there. And I think that will be beautiful. This is not sealed yet. I'm going to spray this with Rust-Oleum matte sealer. I'm going to paint that element white. And I've actually decided that I'm going to cut up the first transfer and just add some second use from here. So I'm going to take just part of this. And it's pulling up some of the paint background, which is a bonus. And that's just because it was sealer for first time use, sealer for second time use, but like so stinking pretty. While I'm waiting for that to dry, I'm going to get some bonding primer on this jar because I want to paint it white. You don't. I used the Conservatory Labels Mould with clay. The clay has dried. And now what I'm going to do is a base coat of white swan. That aside, and we're going to paint the bottle that I used the bonding primer on. I'm going to set that to the side, let it cool off, and let it cure a little bit more. and we'll go back to our board. This is the font I want to use, and this is from the new last summer release, the Apothecary Labels. And by now I'm sure you've seen the sisters to this set, which are just beautiful. I'm just going to do La Rose. And it's so cute. Look at that. Now we're going to have the board and the bottles going to hang from there.